dear.
Hello, everybody. I'm Andy,
Yeah, and I'm Mark.
and this is Strange Stuff Podcast. And it is strange because we're recording in a very, very different time frame.
Than normal. But
Yes.
why have you changed my name from Brutus to Cleopatra?
Well, because last week we were supposed to be doing Julius Caesar.
We did. We didn't finish it, though.
We didn't even really start it, honestly. But I had another subject I needed to talk about, which is kind of time sensitive because it's in the news at the moment and I wanted it to be relevant.
So what, we're ditching Caesar?
We'll come back to him at some later date. He won't go anywhere.
But what's Cleopatra got to do with the news now?
See, this is it, because the only news you follow is Donald Trump.
No, it's not.
So anything else that happens in the world, you just don't have a clue.
I know what's happening in Turkey, which is quite close to Egypt.
And what's happening in Turkey?
Well, unfortunately, all the opposition people are being slung in jail. Luckily, all the people are revolting.
Is it well, they've always been revolting. Is it still Erdogan? Is it Erdogan?
Yeah.
In Turkey?
So it was the mayor of Istanbul, which was his main opposition rival. He slung him in jail. And he's arrested 1,400 or 14,000 people for demonstrating.
Ooh.
I think, no, they're not members of the EU.
No, they keep trying, but
no wonder they
too many human rights issues.
Exactly. These being a perfect example. Anyway, that's Turkey. That's not Egypt. I assume Cleopatra and your name Pharaoh has got to be related to... they did discover something, a tomb, about 2 weeks ago.
It was something more than a tomb, but we'll come to that.
That was a good guess then on my part. It was empty. This can't be the subject of an episode.
You'll see.
Go on then.
You'll see. Anything else gone on?
Not really. I'm trying to... I've had pains in my chest for about 2 months.
That's the longest heart attack on record.
So I decided to go to the doctor to check it out. Needless to say, I am pretty fit and healthy, but my cholesterol was a little bit high.
Mm-hmm.
But you go for a cholesterol test, you must be an expert on this. And
I've been for one.
Oh, I thought you would be monitored all the time.
No, I've been for one test.
Oh, really? All right. Because it's a bloody minefield trying to work out what's good, what's bad, what's high, what's low.
It's just bollocks. At the end of the day, for most people, trying to build a diet around cholesterol is it's just not even a thing because most people can't afford to eat what they're supposed to eat.
What do you mean? Fruit and veggies, that's the cheapest thing. Red meat is what's expensive.
Not anymore. Fruit and veg has gone mental lately.
Actually, I'll tell you what has gone mental. And that is, I mean, it sounds ludicrous talking about it, but it is absolutely staggering. The cost of dairy products like butter.
Fucking hell. Yes, my butter has gone up to like 78 crowns a pack.
Yeah, well, I have lactose-free butter. That is now in Ica Maxi, the cheapest shop in the whole region, 88 krona.
Is that because all the cows come from the Ukraine?
To be honest, I don't know what the hell's going on.
It's
Have you
greed.
seen
It's fucking greed. It's the only explanation.
I'm sure that's something to do with it, but I mean, have you seen the price? A little brick of cheese, you know, if you get a bit of manchego or something.
Yeah, I know. It's like 15, 20 quid a fucking
It's
slice.
literally a small wedge is like 70, 80 krona, 7 quid. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like people just can't afford to eat.
Anyway, I'm giving it away.
And that's people with jobs.
Oh, well, yes, you're right. I'm giving it away because obviously I know the price of cheese, and that's why I've got high cholesterol. So that's out. Cheese is out.
Yeah, I haven't bought cheese for a few weeks.
Sardines are in.
Why would anyone eat sardines?
Rich in
Unless you
omega
happen to be a tuna.
rich in omega 3, good for cholesterol.
And disgusting to eat.
Funnily enough, I quite like sardines on toast.
So, yeah, but then you probably like avocado on toast as well.
Avocado, another thing that's good for heart cholesterol. I think avocados have virtually zero cholesterol
Taste, flavour,
in them.
substance.
No, the only frustrating thing about avocados is you have to be well practiced on how to choose good ones, and I'm crap at it. So I buy a pack of 3. Sometimes I have to throw all of them away because they're just crap, black inside and hairy, woody inside. Anyway,
dear.
so that's me. That's the news of my week. My diet has changed.
Well, I'm still in limbo. No
Yeah.
closer.
But
Although I have had, I did go out on my birthday on Saturday.
yes, and yesterday.
And yesterday, yeah. I had definitely had my last lunch with Teresa now.
Did you shed a tear, Andy?
I think it was about our 4th last lunch. There were tears. There were tears and a lot of hugging.
Good.
She will be missed.
Yeah. Oh. And did you have a good meal on your birthday?
It was at a Thai place, and it's not my favourite food.
Oh, you're right. No. Oh,
it was
no.
edible, but it wasn't great.
Do you remember when we used to meet up every Friday at that Thai buffet in Mora?
Yes.
You used to stuff that
edible.
down.
Yeah, but they had every Thai restaurant is different in Sweden. They've all got their own strange ideas about what food is.
What Thai food is, you mean?
Yeah, and this one just had nothing that tickled my fancy at all. There was a lot of curry, which isn't for me.
All right. Something else that's quite good for your heart.
What? Curry?
Curry.
Well, I'm out then. Got about 3 weeks to live.
Oh, dear. And is it for you just show up at work as usual until you're told not to?
Well, we've been terminated. My last official day is May the 30th.
Right.
But yeah, we're supposed to show up at work and give 110%, like we mean it. But, the fuckers haven't paid us. It's already a day late. And until I get paid, I can't literally pay all my bills.
Sorry, when do people get paid in Sweden?
Yesterday.
On the 25th of March, 25th of the month?
Yep.
And you haven't been paid?
No.
But is that because it's actually the government that's paying you?
Well, yeah, that's got something to do with it, but they're not really trying. It can't be that fucking hard. I mean, they've had 3 weeks to figure it out.
Well, I don't want to worry you, but these things I know not from personal experience, as you know. I've never worked in Sweden, but I do know people who, for instance, when they go from Försäkringskassan to our kassan and all sorts of things like that, sometimes it can take like 3 or 4 weeks to get paid.
I was on our kassa once, and I literally registered with them, and at the end of that very month, I was paid exactly what I was supposed to be paid. It was not a problem at all.
But obviously you're not signing up for our kassan until the end of May.
No, I can't, because technically I'm still employed.
Oh.
But in my world, if you're employed, it means you get paid.
Yeah. Well, surely, oh no, you're not a member of the union, are you? So you can't ask the union rep when you're going to get paid.
There's no point in asking anyone because they can't tell you. It's out of everybody's hands now.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. No, not a great situation. Funnily enough, they haven't been in the news very much over the last week. Not that I've
That's
seen.
because there's been no progress. I mean, they're just fucking treading water.
Hmm.
We're not going to have a miraculous last minute buyer. I mean, you can see from my perspective, you just have to look around the plant at the attitude, and it's just a very depressing place to hang out at the moment.
Yeah, I can imagine. Hmm.
There's so few people actually turning up to work, including me this week because I'm off. But I mean, there was no problem with the car parks last week.
No. Hmm. And is the snow gone, as a matter of interest?
No, we've still got ice.
You do?
It's plus degrees today and sunny,
Yeah.
but
Same
we've
here.
still got ice.
In fact, I spent the whole morning, I was burning stuff from 9:30 until 1:30 because I cut down a load of trees.
Oh, burning garden rubbish.
Actually, it's technically not garden rubbish. I have checked because apparently you're not, well, it's debatable. You're not supposed to burn garden rubbish anymore. But I think even that was rescinded last week. But burning tree branches and stuff is not garden rubbish.
Oh, what does
So
it
I am
count
allowed
as
to
now
do it.
then?
Huh?
What's it called now then?
Well, because you can argue that it is in fact ved that you're burning, and there's no restrictions on burning wood. It's just leaves and shit you can't burn, which I think now you can anyway.
But if they're attached to the wood,
Yeah, but you cut trees down in the winter, so there are no leaves. I don't know if you want to say, but how did you get on with your landlady on Monday?
much as I expected.
All right. So she
I
didn't
went,
halve the rent or something.
no, I basically told them what my maximum was going to be.
Yeah.
And there was an awkward silence.
Oh.
And I don't care. But what I am a little bit pissed off is they didn't offer any kind of discount for my 3 months' notice. So they're going to squeeze me to the last minute.
Hmm.
Although one of the girl's boyfriends did say to me, "Oh, maybe you know someone who's looking for a house then." I went, "No, I don't, because everyone I know is unemployed."
Yeah.
Honestly, they'll have a hard job renting this out after I'm gone.
No, but that's why I told you last week. That's why I thought they would negotiate the rent down, or they would be.
They obviously had a number in their head, and it was nowhere near my number.
Hmm.
If it was anywhere close, they would have countered, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like I said, my ceiling was 7,000, which even then is still a little high. And it was just stunned silence. I think they were thinking 11 or 10.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, it's stupid of them because if they get 7,000 for 6 months, 9 months, or whatever it is, that's a hell of a lot better than nothing.
And also, they don't know what they're going to get in the way of tenants.
Well, they're not.
No, but if they do, they don't know who they are.
No.
You've got the possibility of the nightmare tenants.
Especially at the moment, because they might move in and never pay.
Yeah.
So anyway, you are sorted. You told me that you've got a flat.
Well, yeah, but it's just so much going on.
Yeah.
It's hassle anyway. I'm sorted, but I'm not sorted because
Yeah.
I'm moving 15 kilometers away. But then I've got 4 weeks before I have to hand my car back, and I'm not in a position to buy a car. I'm unemployed. It's like,
Mm. Mm.
fucking hell. It's just one thing after another.
Mm. Yeah, it's not a great situation, Andy, that's for sure.
No.
But you can bet your bottom dollar that Sweden, the government, is going to absolutely pull out all the stops to try and get a deal done. It would be so embarrassing for Sweden as a country if it actually closes up and there's an empty, enormous factory sitting in Skellefteå.
Well, they
They
need to
couldn't
pull
let
their
it
finger
happen.
out. They need to pull their finger out because there's a couple of thousand people who are fucking struggling,
Yeah.
and they seem to be the least of everybody's concern, where they should be the first concern.
Mm. But, well, you did, well, they are doing something to the extent, I know they haven't actually paid you, but the government has guaranteed your salary until the end of May. March, April, May. So they've given 3 months, have they? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about something more interesting, like who are we talking about?
Well, we're going back to the pyramids.
We've done that before. It's not a ridiculous sports shop pyramid, that absolute time waste of an episode that we did about the 10th biggest pyramid in the world. And it was some golf shop in Las Vegas or something. That was ridiculous. That was definitely a low point.
No, today is our low point. Now, the world has always been fascinated with Egypt. Even Greek rulers often portrayed themselves as pharaohs, and Romans dragged obelisks home from Egypt to adorn their cities, including Istanbul and Rome. And even Napoleon, following his invasion of Egypt in 1798, Egyptomania gripped Europe, and amateur archaeologists began flocking to the country,
Yep.
unearthing massive temples and statues and excavating untold numbers of tombs, including the famous tomb of Tutankhamun, discovered by Howard Carter in 1915. We did an episode on him.
Have we?
Yeah. And the curse.
The curse of Tutankhamun.
But of all the impressive sites and artifacts found, the pyramids of ancient Egypt are unmatched in their grandeur.
I know. They did some magnetic scope thing of one of the pyramids.
We're 4,000 years in the past at the moment. Try and keep down instead of keeping ahead. Pyramids were built, we thought, at least, as funerary tombs for pharaohs and high-ranking officials from between 2600 before Brian to 1550 before Brian.
Right. So 5,000 years ago.
Yeah. So these massive monuments displayed a person's power and wealth, and they served as a place of ascension into the afterlife. Over 100 pyramids have been found in Egypt, mostly in clusters along the west bank of the Nile, and they came in all shapes and sizes, but usually triangular, I would say.
Actually, pyramid is a shape.
Yes.
Pyramid is a shape. And even Las Vegas. There's a pyramid in Las Vegas, if you don't know that.
Yes, but it is based on the pyramids of Egypt.
Well, it's based on a pyramid.
But they came from the early stepped pyramid of Giza to the uniquely shaped bent pyramid.
Oh, is that the Leaning Tower of Pisa?
Well, the pyramid angle was changed midway through construction. So it wasn't perpendicular. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but if you Google the bent pyramid, you'll see.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I want to.
And then, of course, you've got the three iconic pyramids of Giza, which have dominated Cairo's horizon since 2550 before Brian. So they're pretty bloody ancient. Research on the pyramids has been taking place since the early 19th century, with early archaeologists clearing sand from the complexes and exploring the interior chambers, sometimes, unfortunately, for the pyramid's preservation, with the help of dynamite.
Really?
Yeah, they used to blow out chambers. And
What?
later, yeah.
What is this
Fucking
Trump-style
vandals.
archaeology? What's it?
Let's open up a chamber. Charge!
Oh, dear.
And later archaeologists were scanning and restoring the monuments. However,
hang on. I've just. How do you respond?
I don't know. Press red or answer.
Right. Oh, I did it.
What did you respond?
Can I call you later?
Okay. So, for all the centuries of excavation and research, many period mysteries remain. And one of the most enduring mysteries is how they were made. And there's been so many arguments about it. And the Pyramid of Khufu, sometimes called Cheops, which is the largest Egyptian pyramid, is made of 2.3 million stone blocks.
That's a lot of stone blocks. Weighs 4 tons.
Each of which weighing anywhere from 2.5 to 16 tons.
Ah, good guess, Mark. 16 tons.
Yeah, 4 is a long way from 16, but
yeah, but it's in between 2.5 and 16.
It's a stone block. Of course, it's going to be tons. You couldn't have gone far off the mark.
How long did they take to make?
Coming to that. Are you going to include weekends and overtime? How the fuck would I know how long it took to make?
No,
they weighed 16 tons.
Not the stones, the bloody pyramids.
Yes,
you idiot.
But if a brick weighs 16 tons and you've got 2.5 million of them to put in place, how long do you think it took? Generations, I would say.
That's why I wanted to know how long because if it took 100 years to build and there were 2.5 million divided by 100, that's...
Come on, 230,000 a year.
230,000 a year. Even that 230,000 a year.
Oh no, hang on, 23,000
no, 23,000 a year actually. It's 10 years.
Yeah,
but even 23,000 16-ton blocks.
Not all of them are 16 tons. I would imagine they're
No.
the base stones, the foundation stones.
Where did the stones come from?
I'm going to tell you.
It's the desert.
I'm going to tell you. Yeah. Now, some of the blocks, particularly the ones from the inner chambers, came from as far away as Aswan, which was 500 miles from Giza, where the pyramid stands. But how did ancient Egyptians build such massive pyramids without using simple machines such as the wheel, which, while it was used by Egyptians for pottery making, wasn't really used for carts and chariots until 1500 BC, likely because wheels themselves weren't much use in the thick sands that covered most of the country.
So these internal stones came from 500 kilometres away, did you say?
500 miles. We are long before metrication here.
What are you talking about, you idiot? They
We
didn't
didn't
have
have
miles
kilometres.
in ancient Egypt.
They certainly didn't have kilometres, did they?
Well, they bloody white. Well, that's why it's irrelevant. They didn't have either.
Okay, it was
they had feet.
6,000 cubits.
They had horses, horse length, 3,000 horse lengths.
Anyway, it's an age-old mystery and one that continues to be an enigma for ancient monumental complexes across the world. And while there's many theories, there's a lack of hard archaeological evidence to fully support any one of them. One of them, for instance, about how the blocks was moved, involves sleds and wet sand.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Am I keeping you up?
No, it's just I'm exhausted. What,
One
wet
theory,
sand?
Sleds and wet sand. There's a painting in the tomb of Jehuti-Hotep which shows men dragging a colossal statue on a sled, and in front of them a person pours water onto the sand, which was initially thought to be some kind of ceremonial gesture. But physicist Daniel Bonn recently discovered that the right amount of water, about 2 to 5% of the volume of sand, increased the stiffness of the sand and reduced the friction between the object being dragged and the ground, making the object much easier to move.
I don't want to state the bleeding obvious, but they are in the middle of the desert. So where the fuck
from the plumber?
Where did the water come from?
From the hose pipe.
It wasn't only miles and kilometres. They didn't have 2,500 BC. They didn't have any bloody water pipes either.
Yeah, they were a bit short on the old copper piping. But the same technique of sleds and wet sand may have been used to drag stone blocks to pyramid construction sites. And once the blocks were at the site, however, how the hell were they lifted into place without the use of mechanical advantage?
Ramps.
A ramp found in a quarry dating to the construction of the Pyramid of Khufu indicates that the Egyptians were able to pull stone blocks out of the quarry on a steep upward slope. Now, it's possible that similar ramps were used to haul stones up the pyramid's sides to be placed. However, the exact system of how they did it is unknown.
And they just built bloody great big ramps, and then when the pyramid was complete, they took the ramps away.
Yeah, but how did they actually propel them up the sides of the pyramid?
Slaves.
You know, it's generally considered now that they weren't really built by slaves. They were built by volunteer farmers in their downtime.
What, when they didn't have any rain?
When they had no crops because it's a desert.
I can't believe they don't know how they made the pyramids. It's 2024. No, it's not. It's 2025. We know everything.
We don't. We certainly don't know how Trump got elected.
No, that's true. Or J.D. Vance.
Yeah, the ramps
16 tons.
Yes. The ramps could have been on the outside of the pyramid, spiralling up like a mountain road, or straight and long, or even built inside the pyramid. But how the 16-ton blocks could have been moved up a ramp is unknown, with theories ranging from sleds to wooden rollers to wooden posts tied to each side of a block, changing the shape from a square to a polygon and allowing them to be rolled like a keg of beer. I would not want to be pushing that.
Interesting. I wonder how big a 16-ton block is.
I can tell you exactly. It's more or less exactly twice the size as an 8-ton block.
You're a twat, aren't you? No, seriously, what do you reckon? I reckon it would be about 2 meters by 2 meters.
I would say bigger.
What's the density of what rock is it? Sandstone. You carry on. I'm going to check out the density of sandstone.
Oh, yeah, you do that. There is a school of thought that says
Yes.
that there are some scientists who think they've cracked the mystery of how the pyramids were constructed, and it wasn't with the help of extraterrestrials,
Oh,
unfortunately.
no, really? I like the idea of that.
But there was a groundbreaking discovery by researchers from the University of North Carolina, which reveals that these ancient marvels were likely built, and I say likely because, again, along a now buried branch of the River Nile, which is concealed beneath the desert sands and farmlands. For years, archaeologists have speculated that the ancient Egyptians used a waterway to transport these blocks and other materials needed for pyramid construction. However, the exact location and nature of this waterway remained elusive until now.
Until now?
Yes. The newly discovered Aramat branch, stretching approximately 64 kilometres or 3,500 horses, is believed to have been used as a transportation waterway for workmen and building materials to the pyramid sites. The researchers used a combination of radar satellite data, geophysical surveys, and soil coring to map this hidden branch. According to the study, countless valley temples in Egypt have not yet been found and therefore might still be buried beneath the agricultural fields and desert sands along the riverbank of the Aramat branch. The reason why this branch of the river dried up or disappeared remain uncertain. Most likely a period of drought and desertification caused sand to sweep into the region, silting up the river, according to researcher Emin Gonaim.
Gonaim? He likes something out of Lord of the Rings. Right. It's in very, very rough terms. It's 2 tons per cubic meter.
So
16 is 2 by 2 by 2. 2 2s are 4, 2 4s are 8. Yeah, it is actually. Good guess, Mark.
Yeah, good guess, Mark.
Thank you. It's a big old unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about
especially if it fell on your toes and you weren't wearing your PPE.
Exactly. Because I was thinking if they had to strap on a log on the outside to make it round so they could roll it up, that's a hell of a log.
It's a tree.
It's more than a tree.
Where do you get your trees?
Yeah, because it's desert. So there's no trees and there's no water.
Yeah, and there's no rocks. I mean, why didn't they just build sandcastles?
I was going to say, these people must have been idiots.
They had all that sand to play with. Why didn't they just invent concrete?
Because concrete's not made of sand.
Isn't it?
Lime.
Sand and what makes... Don't you mix something with sand?
It was the Romans who invented concrete, and I will Google that because that's also interesting. Carry on.
We haven't got time for your Googling.
Yes, we do.
Okay, in 2017, a company called Scan Pyramids made a massive discovery inside the Pyramid of Khufu with the aid of muon tomography, which is a non-invasive scanning technique that uses...
I said that. That's what I said.
What?
That's what they did. They did a magnetic scan.
It uses cosmic rays, not magnetic rays.
Cosmic rays?
Yes, cosmic rays, man. Cosmic.
Well, that's all bollocks. What are you talking about now?
It's not bollocks, is it? Don't get sued by Scan Pyramids. They'll fuck you up.
Yeah, but what is a cosmic rays?
Cosmic rays. They produce 3D images of spaces and they can penetrate much more deeply than X-rays. And researchers discovered 2 previously unknown voids inside the pyramids. The first new space is found inside this pyramid since the 19th century. A small void was detected on the pyramid's north face, which was approximately 15 feet long. Horizontal and sloping upwards, this could be a passageway, but more significantly, A 100-foot-long void was found above the Grand Gallery, which in itself was a magnificent passageway that provides access to the burial chambers towards the centre of the pyramid. Not much is known about this larger chamber. It could be either horizontal or at a slope, and it may actually be made up of several smaller rooms. And while it's unlikely that it's actually a burial chamber itself, it could be a second Grand Gallery, or, more intriguingly, holds some of the secrets to the engineering and construction behind the pyramid. The Bent Pyramid, built by Snefru, Khufu's father, has a similar chamber above the main burial chamber, and this space was believed to help reduce the weight of the masonry pressing down from above. Scan Pyramids has plans to scan more pyramids, including the Pyramid of Khafre, Egypt's second largest. So we're all waiting on tenterhooks to find out what other secrets muon tomography could reveal about ancient Egypt's monuments.
I'm no expert in this field, but why wouldn't you want to start by getting a small one scanned so it's easier to do?
Well, why would it be easier?
Because there's less rock you've got to penetrate to get a picture.
Well, probably the smaller ones aren't as mysterious as the big ones. Well, no one wants to know about your little mini pyramids. They all want to know about the big ones in Giza.
Well, we did a whole program about a mini pyramid, as I remember.
Well, now, why do you think they actually stopped building the pyramids?
They probably ran out of farmers.
Slaves. The last one was built around about 1500 BC.
So they were building them for about 1,000 years, though.
Yeah. And afterwards, while wealthy individuals were occasionally buried in or near pyramids, pharaohs were buried in the Valley of Kings near Thebes, modern-day Luxor, which was the new capital of ancient Egypt.
Tomb Raider.
And what exactly caused the rulers of Egypt to abandon the practice of pyramid burials is unknown, but again, many theories exist. And one of those is that religious changes around 1500 BC began emphasizing building tombs underground in the bedrock rather than interring bodies in pyramids. Thebes, unlike the previous Egyptian capital Memphis, had far less open space, and what little there was rocky and rugged, hardly the ideal landscape to build massive monuments.
But Andy, you said that the new scan technique revealed possible explanations of how they actually built these things.
No, I said that was one theory, that they could reveal those secrets, but they've only scanned these. They're not allowed to go in and actually break into these chambers.
Oh, I see.
The Egyptian government is very, very protective of their pyramids. You cannot get permission, especially if you're going to cast any aspersions on the history and the culture of the country. What they want is to maintain their mystery. So tomb robbing was also an issue. And there was far less chance that burials would be looted if they weren't placed in such conspicuous settings as horizon-dominating pyramids.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, he was a tomb robber. The Valley of the Kings is a cliffy, complex landscape, and it was easy to hide royal burial places and rock-cut tombs. Thutmosis, who was the first pharaoh to be buried in the Valley of Kings, hired a man named Ainini to inspect the excavation of his tomb. And in his autobiography, which was probably one of the oldest autobiographies in the world,
absolutely,
Thutmosis wrote, "Cat on two legs walking backwards, snake drinking a cola."
What?
All right, I won't say it in hieroglyphics. I will tell you the translation. It read, I inspected the excavation of the cliff tomb of His Majesty alone, with no one seeing and no one hearing. Entrances were kept secret, and necropolis guards patrolled the area for looters. A more recent theory about why they came to a stop comes from an engineer called Peter James, who was tasked with examining the outer casing of the Bent Pyramid, which was built in 2600 BC. And while it's better preserved than other pyramids, which have all lost their outer casings of limestone and marble, the Bent Pyramid's casing had also been breaking apart. And Peter James discovered that the extreme temperature fluctuations of the Egyptian desert were causing the limestone to expand and contract, moving the stone blocks to the edges of the pyramid and forcing them to detach or break, taking the outer casing with them. Oddly enough, the Bent Pyramid's unusual construction made it the best preserved pyramid. The gaps between the stone blocks have allowed them to shift with thermal expansion without breaking the casing. On the other hand, the more perfectly aligned and placed blocks of the pyramids of Giza have no gaps between them. Any shifting of the blocks caused them to push against each other, causing the casing to disintegrate rapidly, and the disintegration likely happened while pyramid building was still occurring. And after
Can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine what one of those pyramids must have looked like when it was box fresh?
Unbelievable.
Covered in marble.
Yeah, and reflecting the sun. They must have been just incredible.
They must have been absolutely staggering. Bearing in mind that there was, well, you know, you had the ziggurats and God knows what else that was being built, you know, big structures that were being built in Indonesia and various other places. But it must have been incredible when people basically lived in tents or caves to have these absolutely enormous. I mean, can you imagine the number of tourists that must have visited these places?
With possibly a gold capstone on top
as
well. Yeah. Unbelievable.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it must have been absolutely staggering.
I don't know about tourism. Invasion was more likely. But I don't think TUI were doing 2 weeks all-inclusive at that time.
I wonder, has anybody actually... I'm sure they've got thousands of artist impressions of what they actually look like, but have you ever seen a picture of what they might have looked like back in the day?
I've seen lots of different pictures, but it's mostly speculation, unfortunately. Well, I mean, after spending so much time, money and energy creating perfect monuments, the visible and rapid destruction of their perfection could have been one reason that the pharaohs abandoned them as burial monuments, because basically they were falling to pieces before they were even finished.
Yeah, but we're talking 1,000 years old. The building period was roughly over 1,000 years. So some of them that had been built 1,000 years ago, the facade may have deteriorated. I wonder how many buildings built today are going to last 1,000 years.
Well, there's some apartments going up here which probably won't last 1,000 days.
No. Are they building new apartments?
Yeah, I noticed yesterday while I was driving Teresa back home after lunch that there were 2 cranes have been erected since I last noticed.
Well, that's all going to stop, isn't it?
I know, but the thing is that these are obviously contracts which were negotiated 2-3 years ago. And now that it's time to break ground, they can't really back out of them.
Well, all right.
So Egypt's pyramids attract thousands of tourists every day, as the world still stands in awe of the architectural magnificence of these structures built some 4,500 years ago. But they're also the subject of some intense conspiracy theories, from hoaxes to alien involvement. And the mystery only deepened when Italian researchers recently claimed to have discovered a vast underground city from giant vertical shafts some 4,000 feet below the surface of the pyramids of Giza with spiral staircases.
4,000 feet?
And a platform comprised of 2 huge chambers with descending channels from them. If true, the secret city
That's
would be...
a kilometre and a bit down.
Yes. If true, the secret city would be 10 times larger than the actual pyramids themselves. And then, during a news briefing, the scientists said a water system was located some 2,100 feet below the Khafre pyramid that joins the 3 pyramids of the Giza complex, with yet more underground paths diving into the earth.
Now, that really would be quite special if, in fact, the construction of the pyramid was literally the tip of the iceberg of something considerably larger underneath it.
If they were like literally the chimneys of the power station.
That is quite... Unfortunately, they're Italian. You can't believe anything the Italians say.
I apologise to our Italian listener, Giovanni. Mark is a tosser.
And also half Italian.
And half Italian. Now, while the bombshell discovery has been shrugged off by some experts as being false or exaggerated and is yet to be peer-reviewed by independent researchers, the team say that they are going to use radar pulses to create high-resolution images to prove their theory. And you've got two guys, Corrado Malanga from the University of Pisa, who said in a statement, "When we magnify these images in the future, we will reveal that beneath it lies what only can be described as a true underground city." The team explained that they send radar signals from 2 satellites about 420 miles above the Earth to analyse how the signals bounce back into sound waves to see through the solid stone. They also suggest that the pyramid may be home to undiscovered secrets, notably the fabled Hall of Records.
What's
and the
that?
Hall of Records is a concept linked to ancient Egyptian legend, where hidden chambers beneath giant structures, including the Great Pyramids or the Sphinx, contain a treasure trove of information and knowledge about the ancient civilization. So it's like a time capsule.
Aliens.
Yes, exactly that. Velour tracksuits and
Yeah, blue.
utility belts.
Blue velour. Sorry, I'm almost mildly interested to do a bit more research on this.
There's more to be told. Professor Lawrence Conyers, a radar expert at the University of Denver, whose work focuses on archaeology, told the news outlet that the technology is limited and would not be able to go that far below the surface. He said that the suggestion of a vast underground city might be a huge exaggeration. However, he did say that small structures like shafts and chambers could exist after all, perhaps being there before the pyramids were built, given that the site was special to ancient people. The 3 pyramids, Khufu, Khafre and Menkaure, sit on the west bank of the Nile River in northern Egypt, with the team suggesting that the vertical shafts under the Khafre sit at about 33 to 39 feet in diameter at 2,130 feet, possibly supporting the pyramid on top. Malanga said, "We did calculations and we saw that the Khafre pyramid is incredibly heavy, and to hold it up it needs a solid foundation, otherwise it would sink into the sands." Nicole Ciccolo, the project spokesman, also said that the cylinder structures might have been access points to this underground system. And she added, "The existence of vast chambers beneath the Earth's surface, comparable in size to the pyramids themselves, have a remarkably strong correlation between the legendary halls of Amenti."
It's an interesting point because obviously I've never measured it, but I imagine that all of the pyramids are sitting pretty close to horizontal.
Yes, I would say that they are basically 100% fucking straight.
And when you think of
The
what it's
mathematical
built on,
probability.
when
I
you
mean,
think it's literally built on the shifting sands of a desert,
Yep.
that they've been able to maintain their horizontalness is pretty staggering, actually.
Yeah. Well, these guys, the Corrado Malanga of Pisa and a chap called Filippo Biondi from the University of Strathclyde, no less, used this synthetic aperture radar to scan the area. And as I said, their findings revealed a network extending approximately 2 kilometers beneath all three pyramids. The Khafre Pyramid, which is the second largest structure on the Giza Plateau, was found to have 5 identical structures near its base, and these structures contained multiple levels and were connected by geometric pathways. And beneath these pathways, 8 vertical cylindrical wells were discovered. Each well was surrounded by descending spiral pathways, reaching depths of up to 648 meters. At the deepest level, the pathways connected to 2 massive cube-shaped structures, each measuring 80 meters each side.
What this is rampant speculation, isn't it?
No, this is not. This is not.
So these aren't flat earthers doing this. This is actual real scientists.
Yes. There is a video released by the Rees Report, which you can check it out on YouTube. Rees Report Pyramids. That these discoveries challenged the long-held belief that the pyramids were solely royal tombs. Researchers have previously speculated that the underground system may well have served a mechanical or energy-related function. The findings align with theories proposed by figures such as Nikola Tesla and Christopher Dunn. Tesla, known for his work on electricity and wireless energy, had suggested that the pyramids might harness Earth's natural energy. And Christopher Dunn, in his book, The Giza Power Plant, proposed that the Great Pyramid functioned as a machine converting vibrations into usable energy. And debate, as we know, over the construction and function of these things continues to this day. Mainstream Egyptologists maintain that the pyramids were built around 2500 BC using conventional methods. However, the newly discovered structures, along with the mathematical anomalies in the pyramid's design, have led to a lot of renewed discussion about their true purpose. But future investigation, unfortunately, faced challenges.
Egypt.
The Khafre project team has shown interest in conducting excavations to further investigate the underground structures. However, securing approval for such research remains uncertain. Egypt has historically restricted archaeological digs that challenge official accounts of the pyramid's origins and functions.
It'd be pretty stupid because I'll tell you what, the significance of the pyramids as pharaohs' burial sites is one level. Some underground city is on a completely different level. I mean, that's literally alien civilization.
We are talking about unknown technology lying there under the sands, possibly.
Because the thing is, to go down 600 meters, I mean,
we can't draw that far today.
No, I was going to say, even today, to go down 600 meters is a hell of that. And this is in the desert without wood. No digger machines.
4,500 years ago.
No digger machines.
With the only wheels available being used to make pots.
I reckon it was a big alien ship that was using the sand as fuel, and it was like a great big vacuum cleaner, and it stuck its nozzle into the desert to create these things.
Well, the new findings contribute to ongoing debates about the pyramid's purpose, alongside existing questions about their construction. Oh,
What?
sorry, my cat has moved my notes.
Notes.
Mainstream Egyptologists believe that the pyramids were built around 2500 BC using conventional methods, and the research team hopes to excavate the site for further investigation, but approval from the Egyptian authorities is uncertain/unlikely.
I think we need Trump. We need Trump to take over Egypt.
But then it will be a golf course.
If he took over Egypt, then he likes mining.
He has got Egypt in his plans as the 54th state once he's secured Greenland, Denmark, Europe, and some other place. But yeah, Egypt has this history of restricting archaeological digs that challenge anything to do with established narratives. So it's unlikely they'll get permission to investigate much further.
But as I say,
which is crazy.
I mean, this is so much bigger. It's so much more interesting and exciting. I mean, the whole world would want to go and visit Giza.
Yeah, but isn't that the last thing you want? The world and his brother turning up with their cameras, phones, taking selfies, trying to get...
It's not only that, though, but it would be such a revelation in terms of global history. Not global, the Earth's history. That civilization started, 6,000 years ago and all of that sort of stuff.
Well, 13,000 years ago, I think.
Or 13,000 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting stuff.
Why aren't we hearing more about this?
Because it's of no interest to the American narrative, probably. And because the pyramids aren't in the Ukraine.
Well, it's quite exciting, actually, Andy. I've never heard of this before.
No, it's very recent discoveries and developments. And that's why I wanted to do it before the sort of storm died down a little bit. Mm-hmm. We've already missed the boat. We're weeks late, as it was. So yeah,
quite interesting, isn't it?
That brings us to the end of the current episode of Back to the Pyramids.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a damn sight more exciting than I think even the original one that we did about Tutankhamun's curse.
Oh, I mean,
this is mildly, this is sort of like, really?
Yeah, I like the curses.
No, not the curse. This stuff, this is real. Well, I say, that's what I'm saying. Possibly. Is it rampant speculation or is it actually...
I mean, obviously, they're probably over-egging the pudding a little bit because they want to get finance and research grants, etc. But if there's a possibility that they're even half right, we need to know. We need to know. There could be some real answers lying underground that could literally put the oil companies and the electricity companies out of business overnight.
Just imagine if the pyramids weren't actually built on the sand and they were in fact on top of these 8-pillar structures with passageways and God knows what else, and it was all above ground, and all that's happened is over the thousands of years the sand has just filled in underneath.
Or it was all constructed underground in the hollow earth, and the pyramids were just pushed upwards to allow ventilation.
That was quite a good one, the hollow earth. Wasn't it a donut? A sort of a cone at the top of the earth where you could fly into?
Yes.
Some German. Weren't we doing German impressions?
9?
9.
Anyway, that brings us to the end.
Good,
that brings us to the end of this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it.
Sorry, for listeners to check out more, it's the Rees Report pyramids, and it
If
will
you just
actually
go
describe it.
if you just go onto YouTube and type in pyramid mysteries, you'll find it. It will be the first search thing that comes up. Just
All right.
pyramids or underground or underneath the pyramids, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
You'll find it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode as much as Mark clearly did.
Yeah, I did. It's not, it's just, I was surprised how interesting that was. Well, no, I'd never heard of it before.
Well, there you
Never
go.
heard of it.
Perhaps you could listen to it again next week and be surprised for a second time.
Well, knowing my memory, I would be. Really? We did that, did we?
Hey? What? Really? The pyramids, you say?
Oh, dear. All right.
Yep, don't forget.
So, sorry, was that
Strange
it? That's
Week.
it?
Yes, that's it. There is no
All
more.
right.
Not yet.
All right.
Not until the Egyptian government give way to other people's curiosity.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have a word with the Egyptian government.
I used to be good friends with Anwar Sadat, but not anymore.
He's dead.
Exactly. So have yourself a strange week. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. If you do go exploring underneath the pyramids, keep it quiet. Keep it on the DL because you're not really allowed to do that. But if you get any pictures, selfies of these
Send them over.
things, just send them on over. You can find us at strangestuffpodcast@gmail.com. And you can find us wherever we are. You know where we are by now. Have yourselves a good week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.